Hello, how are you doing this Thursday evening? I believe you are having a wonderful day. It's my pleasure to be back on the Wrong Believing series on Thursday. My name is Tope Oloniniyi. I'm a pastor and I'm the author of these two wonderful books that you can see right here. Right Believing produces Right Living, which we review every Tuesday, and The Effortless Success, which is another wonderful book that have touched and changed a lot of lives. Now, on Thursday, what do? We do what is called the Wrong Believing series. And in the Wrong Believing series, we take on different topics, various things that we need to challenge. Some of the beliefs that we believe that have, put our lives on the wrong direction. And so that's exactly what we are doing every Thursday, and which we shall be doing today. So today is our opportunity to do just that again. And what's our topic for today? Our topic is Wrong Believing series lesson 53. We need to give offering to God. How do you see that? Wrong Believing series lesson 53. We need to give offering to God. What's wrong about this belief? As we proceed and x-ray and cross-examine this topic with the Word of God, you'll be able to come to a conclusion yourself why it is a wrong belief. Okay? Are you ready to go with me? Tope Oloniniyi again is my name, like I've said before, and I'm a pastor. And by the grace of God, we shall be doing justice to this topic today. We need to give offering to God as a wrong belief. Okay? So, as usual, what we do is to pick some questions that can enable us to dissect this topic properly. And the 4 questions that we have today is, first of all, what is the meaning of offering in the Bible? And the second one is, are we supposed to give an offering in the New Testament? And third one is, what is the basis of giving in the New Testament? And the last one is, what is the right way to give in the New Testament? Okay, let's proceed. The first question, what is the meaning of offering in the Bible? We need to call things by the right names, and we need to know the meaning of the names we are calling, and we need to understand the implications of what we call by specific names. That is what this topic is all about. Looking at, we need to give offering to God as a wrong belief. So what is the meaning of offering? What is the meaning of offering in the Bible? So when you say you are giving offering in the New Testament, what are you really trying to say? So let's proceed. Now, when you say offering in the Bible, it's something that is for God. It is an Old Testament terminology used to describe an item. Offering is an Old Testament terminology used to describe an item, which means a noun, the name of a thing. It can be an animal, it can be a food, it can be grain, it can be some goods, and it can be anything of value. And such things are given or sacrificed to God. So when you say offering in the Bible, that's what it means. It is a particular item, it's the name of a thing that is given to God. Most of the time there are things that are sacrificed. Animal, food, grain, goods, or something of value that is given. Okay? Now, the word offering is used 637 times in the Old Testament, but used only 14 times in the New Testament. And that is very significant. It shows you that when you say offering, it's an Old Testament thing. So it is all over the place in the Old Testament, throughout. But in the New Testament, it is that word came up only 14 times. Why? And under what circumstances did it come up in the New Testament? These are some of the things we'll try to understand as we proceed. Now, when you say offering is always given for a purpose. Okay? It's always given for the purpose of attracting one form of benefit or the other from God. That is the purpose of offering. It's an Old Testament thing, like we said, appearing over 600 times. And it always has a purpose, which is to attract one form of benefit or the other from God. Such benefits include forgiveness of sins, favor, mercy, purification, or just act of worship, appreciation, or donation, unto the Lord. All right? Now, another thing with the offering is that it must be used as directed. It must be used as directed. You don't bring an offering and you use it the way you like it. No. If it's an offering that belongs to God, if it's an offering, it belongs to God, number one, and it can only be used the way God directed that it should be used through the priest, or through the Levite, through the priest in particular. There are guidelines that guide how it must be used. An offering belongs to God and must be used as commanded by God. Oftentimes, it may be burned with fire. Other times, it is given to specified persons, not just anybody, in the service of God, in part or in whole. We must know that even when the object of an offering is given to men, or used up, or eaten by men, it belongs to God primarily, and it is only allowed to be touched or used by those people because God directed it should be used to them. It's given to them and used up by them. But a lot of times it's even burnt up because it is something that is strictly for God. Sometimes part of it is burnt, part of it is given to some people to eat. Yeah, they are mostly animals, and some other consumables that are used as offering. Okay? Now, like we mentioned, there are only 14 places where the word offering is used in the New Testament. Only 14, compared to over 600 in the Old Testament. Now, let's look at these 14 occasions, because we are New Testament believers. We are in the New Testament. We are no longer under the Old Covenant. And most of the time, when you mix up the two, we don't know how grievous it is. We don't know how complicated things become. And that's one of the things we are going to try to see. So, 14 usages only in the New Testament. 7 out of this usage is in connection with Old Testament offerings. Which means out of the 14, 7 is just a reference to something in the Old Testament. So we can say those 7 are not really useful for us. Because the scripture is only referring to something in the Old Testament. So it's still part of extension of the Old Testament. Let's see the remaining 7. 6 out of the remaining 7 is in connection with the offering of Christ. 6 out of the remaining 7, the word offering was used in the New Testament only in connection with the offering of Christ for us. So the main offering in the New Testament is offering of Christ. Christ being the last offering that need to go to God to get all the favor we need. Christ himself was offered. And those references were in Hebrews chapter number 10 verse 5, chapter number 10 verse 10, chapter number 10 verse 14, chapter number 10 verse 18, and Ephesians chapter number 5 verse 2. Hebrews chapter number 10, we see almost 4 of it there. Ephesians chapter number 5 verse 2, specifically talk about Christ being made our offering to God. Very direct. So there is the main offering of the New Testament is the offering of Christ, not offering that you give in church on Sunday. Alright? Now, the only last one place where the word offering was also used, be to the last out of the 14, it was used as a verb. That is somebody making an offering, and it was just in one of the parables of Jesus. So it's not really something, it's not a New Testament concept or practice, because New Testament actually begins after the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, not the synoptic gospel where the stories of the earthly ministry of Christ was going on. We cannot really say it's New Testament. It's just an extension of the Old Testament. But Jesus was around already, but he has not been sacrificed. He has not died for our sins. So the real New Testament practice begins in the book of Acts. All right. Now, so there was no time that the word offering is used in connection with giving money or any item to God in the New Testament. In the post-resurrection New Testament, after Christ, the early church, there is no, and all the letters written to the churches, there was no time the word offering was used to describe giving money or giving an item to God. They are all used mostly in connection with the offering of Christ to God for us, or used in connection, just a mere reference to something that happened in the Old Testament. Let's proceed. Are we then supposed to give an offering in the New Testament? Mind you, I'm not saying whether people are not supposed to give. The issue here is saying you are giving an offering to God. The issue here is, claiming you are making offering, or pastors calling for offering. I know there have been a lot of talk about tithe, but today we are looking at the word offering as far as the New Testament is concerned. So, are we supposed to give an offering in the New Testament? Hebrews chapter number 10, verse 5 to 7. You see that most of these comments that are made about offering in the New Testament are comments that show how God was displeased with offering of the Old Testament, which made God to now bring an offering himself. So why are we now bringing back the issue of offering again? Now, look at Hebrews number 10, verse 5 to 7. See the kind of damning judgment God passed on all offerings. That is why when Christ came into the world, he said to God, "You did not want animal sacrifice or sin offering, but you have given me a body to offer. You are not pleased with burnt offering or other offering of sins. Then I said, look, I have come to do your will, O God, as is written about me in the scripture." You see that means statement that God made about offering? Now, look at Isaiah chapter number 1, verse 11. "To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of burnt offering of rams and of fats, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lamb, of goats." Look at Hebrews chapter number 10, verse 8. Above, when it says sacrifice and offering and burnt offering and offering for sins, sacrifice and offering, burnt offering and offering for sin, thou wilt not, neither hast thou pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. All offering being brought to come and get favor from God, God lost interest in it. God himself gave an offering that gave us all the favor we ever need. That is the truth of the New Testament. God passed a vote of no confidence on anything anybody can bring, as an offering to get something from him. God himself gave us an offering that gave us everything we will ever need. And that offering, is the body of Christ. Now, you look at Hebrews number 10, verse 10, talking about the offering of Christ for us. By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. There is only one offering that God did that gave us everything we will ever need, and that offering was once for all. The offering of the body of Jesus Christ. And he said it only needed to be done once, and it was done. But the impression we are given is that bring an offering so that God will bless you, so that God will favor you, so that God will do this. When you are suffering, it means your offering is low, or something like that. All manner of rhymes that are going on, whereby our brain and our mind have been polluted with a lot of things that is not scriptural. Ephesians chapter number 5, verse 2 says, "And walk in love, as Christ also has loved us, and has done what? Giving himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savour." There is one offering that gives us favor, that satisfies God, totally, and that offering was done once and for all. And that offering is Christ. Christ himself gave himself an offering for us. Walk in love, as Christ also loved us. And what did Christ did? He gave himself for us, an offering. So there is an offering and a sacrifice to God which smell so sweet in God's nose and give us everything we ever need. So why should we still be calling money that people are going to give in church to help the work of God or to help brethren? Why should we still be calling it offering in the New Testament? That is the question. Okay, let's proceed. Old Testament offering is to obtain one form of favor or another. Jesus purchased all the favor we will ever need once for all by his blood. Believers and early church members gave freely and generously. Don't forget that. The believers and the early church, they gave freely and generously their resources. And such collection was never called an offering. Again, such collection was never called an offering, not even once, in the post-resurrection church in the Bible. And mind you, people gave even more. People even sold their houses, sold their land. They never called it offering. They were just giving generously. Okay? If you don't call things by the right name, you confuse. You also are likely to misinterpret what you are doing. Now, what is the basis of giving in the New Testament? What is the basis of giving in the New Testament? How is it supposed to be done? And how is it done by the early church? And how is it done in all the churches that Apostle Paul and other apostles wrote to? What is the basis of giving in the New Testament? Number one, it is not to appease God. Love is the basis of and reason for all giving in the New Testament. An expression of love for God shown to the brethren and people. Mind you, we cannot see God. We can only see ourselves. We cannot give an offering to God anymore. The only offering God needed, he has provided the offering himself, which is Jesus Christ. Okay, New Testament giving is not to appease God or obtain favor from God. We have already gotten all the favor through Christ. It is the response of a grateful heart to a generous God who already gave us all things freely through Christ. New Testament giving is a response of a grateful God, of a grateful heart. We are the one that God gave something that is so big, something that is so precious, something that is eternal, something that gave us everything we ever need once and for all. When we now respond in the New Testament, what we are giving is no longer offering. We are only showing how grateful we are by being a blessing to one another. Mind you, we cannot see God. We only see people in which God lives. We see human beings. Alright? So God already gave us everything we need freely through Christ. Believers' generous giving is a response to God's generous gift of Christ. Believers' generous giving is a response to God's generous gift of Christ. Because God has given us all things, we are so grateful. We can only reciprocate by giving to one another. We can only reciprocate by giving to promote the gospel. Alright? If God so loved us, that should be the theme of New Testament giving. We are not the one courting favor from God. God already gave us all the favor we will ever need. Now, believers' giving is right response to God's love. 1 Corinthians chapter number 13, verse 3, which is very, very key to this whole explanation. He said, and though I bestow all my good to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profited me nothing. In other words, giving in the New Testament is all about love. It's all about just expressing our love for one another. Now, 1 John chapter number 4, verse 11. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. So, the New Testament giving is a way by which we are responding to God's love by loving one another. I cannot see God, but I can see a fellow brother who is a temple of God. So, I can show how grateful I am. I cannot see God, but I can see people that need to be saved and give towards the cause of the gospel. Now, it's all for love. 1 John chapter number 3 verse 16. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our life for the brethren beyond money. We ought to lay down our life. This is what New Testament love is all about. Not even beyond money. We are not giving something to God. We are actually expressing how grateful we are to God by giving to one another, by giving to promote the gospel. Now, but whosoever has this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowel of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? How can you say the love of God dwells in you when you see your brother in need and do not provide? There is a sense of confusion when you say bring an offering to God, because it means it belongs to God. It means the person collecting it is collecting it on behalf of God. It doesn't mean the person can decide to use it based on what he feels God is asking him to the way he wants it to be used. But all of that are Old Testament. The New Testament standard, New Testament practice is to show the love of God to one another. So God is already out of the picture now. It's about you loving your brothers. It's about you showing the bowel of mercy, the bowel of compassion. It's about expressing that love. It's about you responding to this powerful love that God himself has already shown. A believer response in love towards God cannot be expressed to God directly, only to the body of Christ and the world in general. In other words, in the Old Testament they give to God. In the New Testament we give to people. In the Old Testament they give to God that they cannot see. Sometimes that God will say, go and burn it. Sometimes he will say, okay, give it to some people. Sometimes he will say, burn part of it, give part of it to somebody. Now, why God is invisible and unreachable on earth, the body of Christ on earth, and the unsaved potential body of Christ is the visible God on earth. The visible God on earth is human beings now. So those are the people we give to, and it's not an offering to God, it's a gift to them. Alright? That is where there is danger in still talking about offering. The real giving in the New Testament is to human beings, no longer to God. It is to human beings that are the temple of God now. It's no longer about the Old Testament where you just say this thing is sacred. It belongs to God. No. It's no longer sacred. It is a gift to be used on earth to take care of people. It is not something to be cornered by some few people that tell you to look away because it belongs to God. No. It now belongs to human beings. God has already given one offering, which is Jesus Christ, that have already satisfied God. It is human beings that now need stuff on earth. No longer God that we cannot see. Alright? So why God is invisible and unreachable on earth, the body of Christ on earth, and the unsaved potential body of Christ is the visible God that now need to collect gifts on earth. No longer offering. Because offering belongs to God. But gifts belong to human beings. Givings, money to promote the gospel is human beings that needed it and were using it. Now, it is to men and for men. New Testament giving is not to God. It is to men for benefit of men. This statement is so important. New Testament giving is not to God. It is to men for benefit of men. So it's not that just bring the money and look away. We are going to go and consult God. How God will. No. It's now for men, for the benefit of men. God does not need offering again. He has condemned all those offerings. He said he is tired. He said he has brought one offering himself. In Old Testament, the tribe of Levi, headed by high priest, collect offering and tithe on God's behalf. This is so important. In the Old Testament, it is only the tribe of Levi that collect it. There is a high priest. They collect offering and they collect tithe on God's behalf, and nobody dare change the instructions how it must be used. In the New Testament is not a continuation of Old Testament. It is most of the time a reversal. In the New Testament, all believers, without exception, are now kings and priests. The point we are making here is that in the Old Testament, it's only a particular family that is priest. But in the New, all believers are now kings and priests. All of us are king, all of us are priests. In the Old, it is the house of David that is king, and it is the house of Levi that is priest. But in the New Testament, after Jesus Christ has washed us with his blood, all of us are now kings and priests. In other words, you can minister as a priest, and you can also administer as a king in the world. The grace of God is upon you to flow into anywhere where you are already gifted. So, 1 Corinthians number 16, verse 1. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches in Galatia, even as so do ye. This is a very clear illustration of Paul talking about collections. He called it collections. What should be put together to be used to the benefit of the saints. He did not call it offering. Let me read that again. Now concerning the collection for the saints, collection for the saints, did not say offering to God. As I have given order to the churches of Galatia, so do ye. Upon the fourth day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God has prospered him, that there be no gathering when I come. Apostle Paul did not say bring offering to God. No, he said collection, what you are going to use to bless each other. Okay? Now, distribution. When these collections are made, it is distributed by the early church. It is not offering that goes to God. He said all of us are now kings and priests. Acts chapter number 4, verse 34. Neither was there any among them that lacked. For as many as were possessors of land and houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold. People that sold their houses, they did not say we are bringing offering to God. No. They saw that there are a lot of needy brethren in the church. And they felt they have so many land, so many houses. Why don't we sell some of them and use it to invest in people? Let them learn a trade. Let them learn a business. Let's give them 50,000 to go and start business. It's about people. It's no longer about giving money to God. God himself gave us something that money cannot buy. He gave us his son Jesus. And the Bible says through Jesus we have all things already. Now, verse 35. And laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according to his sin. Distribution was made according to what everybody needs. Distribution was not made according to law of Levites. Distribution was not made for certain Levites alone. It is made as if everybody is equal. Everybody is a king. Everybody is a priest. And based on needs, distribution were made. Alright? Now, Mark number 10, verse 29 also talk about Jesus saying we can give for the gospel need. And Jesus answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that has left house, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or land, for my sake and the gospel. So you can actually sacrifice a lot of things for the gospel's sake. You can print tracts. You can pay for airtime to spread the word of God. You can buy data to publish gospel. You can do a lot of things that will cost money just to make sure that everybody hear the truth of the good news. He said, but ye shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and land with persecution, and in the world to come eternal life. So it is just giving. It is not offering. Offering means another thing entirely. Offering connotes another message. But it is thing that is focused on human beings, how to take care of everybody. And it's not about some people being Levites that are now entitled. Even in the New Testament, the Levites themselves that got born again, they did not call themselves Levites again. They also were giving to people in need. They are not collecting from their brethren. So nobody is a Levite again. Even our Jesus is not from the house of Levi. It's from the house of Judah. So the whole idea of Levite, some people being Levite, has collapsed. Yes, we take care of one another. We also take care of our pastors. But we don't call them Levites. And we don't export the Levite law in the Old Testament and put it on them. Now, what is the right way to give in the New Testament? What is the right way to give in the New Testament? Willingly, cheerfully. In the Old Testament, you must bring the offering, whether you like it or not. But in the New Testament, you give willingly, cheerfully. The Bible does not call it offering. It is just collections. It is just givings. 2 Corinthians chapter number 9, verse 7. Every man according as he has purposed in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly, of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. Please note that in the New Testament is the quality of your gift that counts. But in the New Testament, it is your motive and attitude that counts. Let me tell that again. In the Old Testament, it is the quality of your gift that counts. But in the New, it is your motive and your attitude that count more. Willingly and cheerfully. From what you have, you give. 2 Corinthians chapter number 8, verse 12. For if there be first a willing mind, it is accepted according to that a man hath, and not according to that he hath not. Luke 3:11. He answered and said unto them, he that hath 2 coats, let him impart to him that hath none, and he that hath meat, let him do likewise. You give willingly and cheerfully, you give from what you have. But beyond giving what you have, give sacrificially. Those are the dimension of giving in the New Testament. 2 Corinthians chapter number 8, verse 2. How that in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded unto the riches of their liberality. Talking about the Macedonian church that were giving very sacrificially. For to their power I bear record. Yea, and beyond their power they were willing of themselves. Beyond their power. They were even giving beyond their capacity. Give beyond your capacity. Give beyond your power sacrificially. But it must be willingly. You can be moved to even give something that inconveniences you. It's still part of New Testament giving. 1 John chapter 3, verse 16. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he has laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our life for the brethren. Even beyond money, you can inconvenience yourself just to take care of your fellow brother. It's all about love. It's all about knowing that God has shown us so much love, and we need to reciprocate by loving ourselves. All right. It's given with a heart of love. 1 Corinthians number 13, verse 3. Very, very important. We tell us that though you bestow all your good to feed the poor, and though you give your body to be born, if you don't have charity, he said it profits nothing. So this is not about the size of the gift. It's not about the quality of the gift. It's about the heart of love. It's about the attitude and the motive. 1 John chapter number 4, verse 11. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Then, how do we give New Testament? Generously. 2 Corinthians 9, verse 6. But this I say, he who sows sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he who sows bountifully shall reap also bountifully. And God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work. In other words, even when you give beyond your capacity, God will catch up with you and still multiply whatever you have given so that you can continue to give. It's all about giving for love, giving out of love. It's all about, giving to human beings that you can see, to express how grateful you are to God that you cannot see. It's all about publishing the gospel. So, what are we doing? We are knocking out a lot of wrong beliefs. We are knocking out this idea that, this thing is for God. It's for men. God does not have an account on earth. God does not have a bank account that he operates. We are looking at the idea that some people are Levites. All of us are king and priest. The Levites are not people from a particular family. All of us are kings, all of us are priests. It's all about identifying needs and meeting needs. It's all and making sure that the distribution is done properly and openly and transparently. We are making sure we understand that offering connotes, something we are giving God to obtain favor from God. But giving the New Testament is different. We are not trying to obtain favor from God. We recognize that God gave us all the favor we will ever need when he gave us Jesus. And we are grateful. And we are showing love to one another to show how grateful we are. That is what it's all about. So thank you so much for hanging there with me as we knock out, this cloud concerning the issue of offering. When we knock it out, when we understand it, we even give more. We don't limit ourselves to a particular percentage. We do it wholeheartedly. Love moves us like it moved them in the early church, that they were even selling houses and land to give to one another, to take care of one another, to promote the gospel. All right, so if you want to know the platform where I serve God, go to your net, graceimpactnetwork.com. You will get more information there. And you want to know how to pick any of these two wonderful books, www.graceimpactnetwork.com/outlet. You will see all the places you can pick it. You want to do a mail to us, hello@graceimpactnetwork.com. You want to do one to me in particular, pastor@graceimpactnetwork.com. Don't forget to continue to follow me and to continue to share it. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe and press the notification button. If you are watching on Facebook, follow me, share the message to all your friends, through groups, to individuals, to message, to private message, and make sure you spread the good news as we continue on this series week after week. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you.